Welcome to your walkthrough on a 2026 Supreme Aire 4505 floor plan. Coming up to the front here, we'll get started. All right, we'll start over here on the door panel. The controls up here on the top are your door lock and unlock. And then your window, power windows, open and close here for the driver and the passenger. And then with the key on, this switch here is for the mirror heat. Keep the ice and frost melted off your exterior mirrors. And then this would be the directional adjustment for your mirror. This switch up here selects whether you're going to adjust the driver side or the passenger side. And then once that's selected and it's red, you can use the directional arrows to move the mirrors up, down, or sideways. Right up here, we have an air horn. Just pull down on this to activate the air horn. Starting at the lower driver's side dash here, you have your ignition switch, and you can turn it on to accessory mode or go ahead and crank it all the way over to start the engine. Right in the center is where it's off, and you can remove the key. Right above it is the headlight switch, so you can turn the marker lights on or the headlights, and then you can also pull the switch just slightly to turn on the fog lights. Right beside the steering wheel is a lever that you can release, and it allows you to adjust the steering wheel position. Then once you have it in the position you want it, you can just push the lever back up to lock it in place. On your steering wheel here, there are some controls, resume, set, and cancel for your cruise control. There's a back button and a picture-in-picture icon here, and we'll show you what that does here in a minute. And then you have a ICC flash. When you first come into the coach and you first turn your ignition on, you may get some messages here that you'll have to acknowledge. You can do that by clicking the center here of this switch, and then your gauges come up clear. On this side here, we have your buttons for Bluetooth calling, and we have your volume up and down buttons for the infotainment center, and a mute button. So on this side of the steering wheel, we have another switch cluster, and it's your answer and hang up for your hands-free calling if you're connected via Bluetooth with your phone. You also have a volume up and down button for your infotainment center and a mute. This center button is a select button, and you have a back button here. This center button here is going to the infotainment center. This one on this side is going to the dash cluster. On the left-hand steering wheel stalk, you have your wiper controls and your wiper wash controls. You can wash by pushing it in. You can set the speeds of the wiper by rotating this dial here in the center, and then you can control your bright lights by moving the lever forward and backward. On the right hand side of the steering column, you have another stalk, and that is your transmission gear shift select right here in the center. You can put it into drive or reverse or neutral. You also have the control for your engine brake, and that is controlled by the position that you have the stalk in going up and down. You can also select here on the end here, you can select whether you want the transmission to shift manually or automatic. And then if you have it in manual, you can shift the gears by using the paddle. On your center dash cluster, you have your chassis battery voltage displaying over here on the left. Have the outside temperature and the time. In the center, you would have your miles per hour and your RPM gauge. You can go into the menu and change these from miles per hour to kilometers per hour if you need to. Here on the left side, you have your oil temperature, and you also have your turbo boost. Then underneath that, you have your fuel gauge and your DEF fluid. Fuel gauge has the fuel pump right beside it, and the DEF one has the, looks like, exhaust icon beside it. You have your tripometer, also displays your miles per hour digitally, and then you have the indicator here showing you what gear you're in. Your park brake icon is there as well. If your park brake is set, you can see that it goes out when you put your foot on the brake and release the parking brake. And then on the right hand side of the dash, you have your 2 air tank indicators with the pressure showing in each tank. Moving over here to your infotainment center, you have your on-off button here in the center. It's a touch screen, so you can use the icons to go to the home page, where you can select whether you want to look at gauges, cab features, or chassis information. So kind of go through gauges here first. Once you get in there, there's gauges and gauges too, so there are different gauges that show up. You can look at whatever gauge you wish to look at. Go back to the home screen. On the cab, you can set digital switches, alarm clock, and you can also go into system settings where you can change the language and the units. That's where I was telling you could change miles per hour to kilometers if you wanted, right there, just like that. Go into the language, set whatever language you want up on the screen as well. We'll go over here into settings. You can click the icon for settings, go into system settings, language, units, system settings. That was that. Go into connectivity. That's where you can set up your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or your device manager here, where you go in to connect a new phone to the system. We can select chassis, and that's where we can go in and see our tire pressure monitoring system, get all the readouts for each tire. We can also go in to see axles, and we can see if those are locked together with your switches here. You can go into system maintenance and reset your engine oil intervals, and also see what's needed. Diagnostics will take you into software, if there's software updates, and active driver alerts will give you notices. They're likely the same notices that might come up on your center of your gauge here when you first start it up. Right now it's showing the windshield washer fluid's low, so we want to fill that up. The star button here would be your favorites button. You can set up your favorites, balance out your sound on your infotainment center here in the equalizer, set your bass and treble, go ahead and do your balance right and left, and then you can turn your auto volume adjustment on or off. That's where whatever you're doing through your infotainment center, if you're listening to music, it increases as your speed increases. Kind of a nice feature. Turn the display off there as well. These buttons here will change the channel on your radio. This one here is another, like a shortcut button to gauges, similar to, it gets you to the same place as if you were at home and hit the gauges. Same way with the cab. The cab takes you to the stuff that's in the cab area instead of going through that way. Then this would be the same with the one that's chassis here. So you can keep scrolling through here and get all your alerts, your information on oil levels, oil life, filter status, transmission health, your tire pressure monitoring system, what's going on with your axles, and then your reset for your engine oil and your engine oil maintenance indicator. This one here will take you into exterior lighting or into interior lighting and allow you to make adjustments for like how bright or dim you want the step well lighting. And then exterior lighting would be if there's cab lights on the outside. The exterior lighting on our coach here is not used. This here is a shortcut to your devices, and if to connect a device, kind of takes you the same way in, just a shortcut of how we went in before off of the touch screen. The music icon, shortcut to get you to the radio screen where you can select AM, FM, WX, or you can do your presets here, your preset stations. You can search, get your list of current stations, and you can also go into settings. And then these are your volume up and down buttons that you can use, as well as the volume buttons on the steering wheel. Do the same thing, just personal preference on which ones you use. Alright, moving over to the side of the infotainment center, you have a USB-C charger and USB-C input to your infotainment center. Underneath there you have your HVAC controls for the dash area. With the engine running, you can select the speed of the fan. You can also set the temperature selector here to warmer or colder. You can press the center of this button. That one will get you the snowflake icon. Will turn green here, the LED will, and that will turn the compressor on. The center of this button here will close the doors to recirculate air out of the cab instead of pulling fresh air in from the outside. And this selector here will allow you to select the area that the air is going to come out of. So all at your feet and windshield, all windshield for defrost, all out here at the front towards the driver and passenger, and the floor, just all out in the center vents towards the driver and passenger, or a selection here that has all the vents open. Moving down here to the switch cluster. This one here, you can press it and it says light test on it. What it does is it turns all the lights on and off, and the turn signals and stuff goes through a light test so the driver can easily check all the lights before they leave. To turn that off, just click it again. This next switch is the regen off switch, and when you have the switch turned on, it keeps it from regenning when you don't want to. Of course, it's better to regen when you're going down the road at higher speeds and RPMs, but you could be in a position where you don't want the regen to actually take place. You can turn it off. This switch here is for the footwell lighting. We showed you earlier in the infotainment center that you can adjust the intensity of those. And this one here, be a dome light switch, which I don't believe we're using in this current setup. This would be your hazard flasher lights. Just pressing it once will turn it on, pressing it again will turn it off. There's one here for utility light, and I also don't believe that we're using this one. The ATC spin switch will, when you do it, it'll put the no traction control symbol on the center dash cluster. What this one does is it allows you to spin the tires if you need to. Turning it back off by hitting the switch again just turns it off and reactivates the traction control system. This next switch says LDW off, and LDW off is lane departure warning. So this is nice to use like if you're in a construction area where they've got the lanes marked off and you're kind of going all over the place to follow the road. It's not alarming at you all the time for lane departure warning. There are some time restrictions, I believe, on this switch here. This is all in your Freightliner driver manual, but I believe this will automatically go off after a certain amount of time. This engine shutdown override switch, this would be like if you had trouble and your chassis went into limp mode, but you needed to get into a safe area that you could stop at. You can press the override for a limited time. It will let the engine have power again, and it will allow you enough time to get over into a safe place off of the road to call for assistance. All right, over here in the center cluster, we have the shade switch. This one here controls the overhead shade above the cab, and so you can raise and lower the pleated shade with this switch. The gen start and stop, you can press this switch and it will go through the priming and preheat, and it will go in and start the generator. Then once you're done operating the generator, you can simply hit stop and it will shut the generator off. This switch, called battery boost, will allow you to boost the house batteries or the chassis batteries, whichever one needs a boost, just by pressing and holding the switch in the desired position. We like to say it's best if you press and hold it for about a minute before you try to start the engine if you're trying to boost the chassis batteries. And then the next one would be the dock lights. This is just simply an on-off switch, and it turns the dock lights on back near the rear axle. This switch here is a momentary switch for courtesy lights. It will turn the courtesy lights on and off. And then this switch, momentary contact again, and it's for the cab ceiling lights. So just turns those on and off over the cab. All right, below that we have your trailer brake air supply. Works just like the parking brake. You pull it to apply the brakes and push it in to release the brakes. So kind of looks like that when you release both brakes, and then when you apply them, you simply pull them back and it applies the brakes. You have a axle interlock switch here and a differential lock switch here. Neither one of these switches are intended to be used when you're going down the road. They're for slippery conditions at low speeds, and I don't believe they'll work over 15 miles an hour. And there's several warnings about these in the owner's manuals. Before you would use these, you would really need to look and get all the details out of the Freightliner owner manual on these switches. This one here, called suspension height, will allow you to raise and lower the rear suspension. This is especially helpful when you're hooking up to a trailer and the ball might be a little bit too high. You can lower it down, and then you can once you've got your trailer hooked up, you can raise it back up. This is also another one that is meant for very low speeds in situation where you're hooking up to a trailer or whatever, and not to be running down the road with it lowered. You can lower it to also change the weight ratio on the rear axle a little bit if you're in a slippery condition. So those are basic overviews of those. We do have a 12-volt power outlet over here on this side. These are intended to be power outlets. They're not intended to be cigarette lighters. And then we also, right up here, have USB-C chargers as well. Below we have some cup holders. There's not really much to explain about those. All right, above the dash here, we have the camera system. And this camera system, you can touch the screen and it will allow you to see the camera that you've selected. So front, rear, side, either side. You can see split screen with both sides. You can see both sides in the rear. You can see split screen 4 ways where you see each camera separately, and then you can see the split screen with the bird's eye view with the rear camera. So here in the center, you have a couple of lights here that you can turn off and on by pressing them. They'll also come on when you open the driver or passenger door. And then above that, there's a compartment here that's made for a CB radio and has the wiring there for a CB if you choose to install one. Each side then, over the driver and the passenger, is just some storage area. There's also additional storage in the cabinets above and to the side of the cab area here, overhead cab area. It's just all storage. All right, looking at the driver and passenger chairs in the Supreme Aire, they're both the same, so we're going to go over one set of controls. But these controls here are for the lumbar, and there's 3 different positions of lumbar support, and you can increase the pressure on the lumbar by pushing them up, or decrease the pressure by pushing them down. Right above that, we have a selector here for seat heat or seat cooling, and then we have right beside it the level of low, medium, or high for each of those functions, and then off is in the center. The next lever here, this increases the pressure and the height on the whole seat, so you can lower the seat or raise the seat. Down below here, there's a lever that you can release to rotate the seat, but to rotate the seat around, you're going to have to take this center adjustment here in the front and move it forward enough to get enough clearance to rotate the seat around so you don't scrape the back of the plastic pieces and the door. To adjust the armrest on these seats, you can hear they click. You can put it all the way up and then it'll come down all the way, and you just can adjust them up one click at a time to the position that you like. If you get it too far, just raise it all the way up and lower it back down. You can start over. If you just want them up out of the way, simply store them up there. This lever here on the side releases the back so that you can adjust the back, and then when you release it, it locks it in place. So this lever here, you release it, it will allow you to change the tilt of the seat base. This one here, if you release it, it will allow you to slide the seat base forward or backward. On the far left is a lever. It is the horizontal isolator. You can choose whether or not you want your seat to be able to move forward and backward. This bar here, if you pull it up, it will release the seat so that you can move it forwards or backwards. You can rotate it around, and when it gets in the forward position, it will lock in place. You do want to make sure that you have these seats in a position. There's a lot of adjustments on here, and you don't want to have it adjusted to the point where it would rub on anything back here. Same with when you're rotating it around. If you want to rotate it around, you want to get it in a position and jockey it around so that it will rotate without damaging the fabric when you rotate it. Here on the ceiling, the living room area, is the smoke detector, and you can push this button right here to test it. It should alarm There is also a little clip right here on the side that you can get to access the battery. If it does not alarm when you test it, you should replace the battery and then recheck it. To convert the sofa to a bed, you come in here, grab the rear cushions, pull them off, they're velcroed on, set them out of the way. There's a black strap right down in here in the center. You grab that, lift up to unlatch it, set that down, and then rotate this back down. Have a sleeping area. To store it back and make it back into a sofa, just simply reverse that procedure, lift the back up, grab this black strap again, and grab here in the front, and you want to rotate that down, and then put your rear cushions back in place. Along the side of the sofa, there's a small storage area here. Above the sofa, we have a storage area on both sides. The Bose speaker at the top. This can be used to play the TV audio through, or you can Bluetooth to it and listen to music as well. Right below the Bose speaker, we have the AV cabinet, and we have your electrical outlets and your satellite feed here, as well as some HDMI cables for any device you want to hook up to the TV, such as your satellite dish or a Blu-ray player. We can lift that TV cabinet by using one of the switches. Go to home, go to TV lift, press the up button. The TV lift will come up and stop automatically. At that point, we'll use the Samsung remote to turn the TV on. Once we have the TV on, we need to choose what we're going to watch. Obviously, if you're going to watch satellite, you would do that selection on there. But if you're going to watch Air TV, we're going to show you how to program that. You use your remote and go into the setup for channel programming, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so the TV, every time that you go to a new location, you will need to go in and go to your setup menu, and you will have to rescan for channels. We'll hit the source button here. We'll get this screen here. We'll scroll over to the settings icon, and we'll select that. We'll then scroll over to all settings. We're going to be in the picture menu here, and we're going to choose to go down to broadcasting. Once we get into broadcasting, we're going to scroll over to auto program. We're going to select that. It's going to ask you if you want to start, and you're going to select start. Then you have to answer one more question. Do you want to scan for both cable and air channels, air only or cable only? The way that your TV is set up and wired through the antenna, if you choose both, you're only going to get one station. Not station. You're only going to get one choice of air or cable, whichever one you're hooked up to and you're set up for. So, if you want to do air, you need to come over here and make sure that your Winegard Razor TV antenna is turned on. When that is powered on, that is a signal booster. And when it is powered off, it transfers part cable through. If you're connected to part cable, it will transfer that through to the TV. Okay, we've gotten over here to the auto program, and we're ready to start searching for air antenna channels, because we now have the Winegard Razor antenna turned on. So we're going to search that. We'll go through its program here. We're set up today outside with this coach, so it's going to give us channels, and as it finds them, it will start populating how many channels it's found. Okay, so the search was successful. It found 39 channels. We're going to go ahead and close that, and then we'll be able to exit out of programming and menu and watch TV. So at this point, you'll be able to just scroll through your channels that it picked up that were preset. If you have part cable available and you want to scan for part cable, we're basically going to do the same thing, with the exception of we're going to come up here and turn off the Winegard TV antenna. We're going to power it off. Okay. And you can see that it killed our signal, our over-the-air signal. So we're going to go down again, and we're going to go to the settings, scroll over to all settings again, select it, go down to broadcasting, select it, go to auto program, select it. We're going to start auto program, and then this time, instead of choosing air, we're going to go down and choose cable. Now, we are not connected to part cable, so it's not going to find any channels, but this is showing you how you would do that. So it'll go through the scanning process, looking for channels, and then if you're hooked up to cable and you have a good signal, it will populate how many cable channels it has found for you. You'll be able to then scroll through those just like you did on the air channels. Just remember, this has to be done every time you change locations. Your digital over-the-air channels will change, and so will your cable channels if you go to a different park that has cable available. Good? All right. We're going to go ahead and stop this scan because it's not going to find any channels. And we're going to close out of that. You'll also be able to choose other sources if you're connected to them, such as if you put a Blu-ray or a DVD player in your overhead cabinet, then and it's hooked up, you can choose that and watch that on the TV as well. Gives you a brief rundown of the TV, how to set up for channels. Remember, you'll have to do this for each TV. To store the TV lift, just press the TV lift down button and release it. It will store. It is important that you travel with this TV in the lowered position. All right, starting here in the kitchen at the overhead, we have small storage area above the microwave. The microwave itself, right here, this is a combination air fryer and microwave. All the controls are right down here, and you can set the set timers, and your start add 30-second button is right there. The microwave is plugged in this cabinet at the back if you ever need to unplug it, or if it's not plugged in, plug it in to get it going. And then more storage in that cabinet. More storage in this cabinet as well. There is a slider drawer in this cabinet, and you'll notice there's some stickers in here, some warnings and notices. There's also a sticker here that has paint codes on it for your coach, and there's a manual here for the Freightliner chassis as well as the engine and the transmission. Also included in that packet is a remote for the front cab doors, so you can unlock those, or you can get the headlights to flash if you're trying to locate your coach. Beside that, there's a Starlink router. We don't hook that one up if you have the Wi-Fi Ranger system. More storage there as well. Below you have your sink and some sink covers. You can take those covers off. You can store them down here in the cabinet below. This cabinet here tilts out, allows you to put sponges and different cleaning products in there. You have another long drawer, louvers on the side there for the heating system. The faucet itself is pretty simple. It does have a pull down wand, and you can turn it on and off and adjust the temperature here on the single handle control. Moving over to the stove, if you flip these covers over, they're cutting boards on the back side, and you have your induction cooktop. You can turn that on by doing the power button, and then you can adjust your settings on each burner. With this induction cooktop, there's a sticker here that comes right on it that explains that you must have magnetic cookware for this to work, and if it does not sense cookware on the stove within just a short amount of time, it will shut down. This also can be taken out just simply by picking it up and removing it. You can unplug the cord here and take it out to your picnic table if you wanted to cook. Just bring it back in, plug it in, set it back down in there. And then when you go to put your cooktop covers back on, just make sure your stovetop is cool. And then these rounded edges here go out towards the edges, and the straight cut goes right here in the center. Below that we have another large drawer. It's kind of sectioned off for a silverware drawer. We do ship quite a few things in here, like remotes and key fobs. These key fobs here would be for the entrance door, not for the front cab doors. So there are two separate remotes. Your Bose remotes are in here. Your Girard awning remotes are in there. This is a tool in emergency case on the Girard awnings. If you needed to retract those, if they were out and you needed to retract them, there is a way to do that by getting on the roof, removing a plug, and then using this tool with a cordless drill to wind them back in. Have a hubcap wrench and the wrench for the whole house filter in the water compartment. Some miscellaneous parts that we don't install when the dishwasher gets installed, but ship them loose with the coach. And then this would be the flagpole bracket, and once we get outside, I'll show you where that slot just slides down into a slot on the outside. Below that drawer we have the dishwasher, and the dishwasher you want to make sure it's locked. Just before you travel, you want to check it and make sure that it's locked. To unlock it, turn the power on, and then you'll hear it unlock. You can open it up, put your dishes in there, set your modes over here, your cleaning mode and everything, and do your dishes. You just want to make sure that prior to travel that you come over and that you turn it off and make sure it's locked. That'll keep it from sliding out and hitting stuff on the other side of the slide. Have a row of drawers here for more storage. We do ship some touch-up paint in that top one as well. While we're here in the kitchen, we'll go over the air conditioner vents and how to access them. So you come in here, just pull down gently on these here to release the magnets. There are straps here that will hold it from coming all the way open. And there, as you can see up here, there's like 8 different holes. The ones on the driver's side are open. There's no filter in them. Those are the discharge air. The ones on the passenger side here, these are intake air to the AC. And then you need to keep these filters clean on these. You can just grab those and pull them down. They just have a little plastic detent that holds them in there. You can remove these filters and wash them with warm soapy water, let them dry. And you want to put them back on there once they're dry, and you want to snap them back in place so you can get them centered back in and push up in the center, and they'll snap back in place. And you want to do that to each one of those. There's 8 of them up here. There's also some more in the bedroom as well. And you want to make sure those stay clean so that your air conditioner can breathe and have good airflow. Over here on the driver's side of the coach, we have the theater seating. And to operate the theater seating, there's a control right here on the armrest, and just pushing one side of the switch will operate the footrest and recline the seat, and then the opposite switch will retract it. And then just for convenience, there is a USB charger in the center of that switch on each side. In the center console area, there's a couple of cup holders, and then inside there's more storage area as well as a little slider compartment here. It's nice to store remotes and stuff like that on there. Okay, in the slide out here we have a window. This can be opened by unlatching it, and then you can simply lift up on it, and there's a couple of detents, one on each side to hold it up. There's a screen here that can be opened and closed as well. Once you're done using this, you can push detent clips in on the sides, lower it down, and lock it back in place. The large windows behind are just solid. They do not have an opening or a vent. Above the theater seating, we have another cabinet with a bunch of storage. Just below the cabinet here is the thermistor for the front zone of the air conditioner and heating. It's what senses the temperature. We have more storage across here above the dinette as well. Behind the theater seating here and the dinette, there's an outlet, 120 volt with USB and USB-C chargers in the center. And there's another one over here at the back side of this side of the theater seat as well. Okay, we're going to move over to the dinette area. And underneath each dinette seat is a drawer that can be slid out and opened. The table itself can be extended just by coming up to it, grabbing a hold of it, and pulling it open. Once you pull it all the way open, there is a leg here that's held up by a magnet, and that can be lowered down so that it provides support for the longer table. And then you can take, there's 2 table leaves. You can take 1 or 2, your choice, and you can put them in just by lining up the metal tabs And then there are additional seats underneath the bed, folding dinette chairs that you can use to extend your seating area. With both leaves in, I just put one in, but with both leaves in, it comes out here. To go ahead and store the table in leaves, you can just fold the seats themselves up and store them underneath the bed. You pull the table open and then release the leaf from it. That will store underneath the bed as well. And then before you close this, you want to lift up slightly and store the table leg up in place, and then you can simply slide this closed. Okay, moving over from the dinette to the refrigerator area, we have a Whirlpool refrigerator, and one of the unique things about this is Newmar installs a lock down here in the middle for travel. Once you lock that, it keeps all three doors from opening. To open it, just slide this forward. Will allow you to open each door and drawer. There is a couple of filters back here. They get installed right back here in these louvers. Those pop out and those install in there. There's also a water filter. Gets shipped with the new refrigerator. To install it, you simply pull that little door at the bottom. It has some arrows here, along with some notches here that will only allow this to go in one direction. You line that up and push it in. Once it's pushed in, you close that door. I'm not going to install it right now because there was some antifreeze in the system. And you do want to remove that before winterizing the unit as well. Right here is the control panel for the refrigerator. You can see there's some lines here that go to these two outside buttons. It says hold for 3 seconds for cooling off and cooling on. So the cooling was off, so I just turned it on. Now that you see that it's on, you can adjust the amount of snowflakes in these two areas for the freezer or the refrigerator portion. And it also allows you to push this button when you first turn it on for fast cool. Just keeps it going so that it cools down faster initially. You have your water and your air filter resets here as well. It gives you instructions there just to hold them down as well. And then if you want to put this refrigerator into storage, once you've cleaned it out, you can push and hold those two outside ones and it'll turn the cooling off. So at that point, anything that's in there would not stay cool. All right, right beside the refrigerator, there's a pantry with adjustable drawers. And these drawers, you have to push them in to release them so that they'll open. And then once you close them, you push them till they latch. And then they don't slide open that way and force the door open during travel. If you want to adjust the height in between the drawers, you simply come in here and there's a couple of levers here, one on each side, and you push them down and one up, depending on which side it is. You can take these out, and then this whole assembly here will pop out of these here. It's got like pegs in it, so you pop those out, you put it to the position you want it, push the pegs back in, and then you're able to reinstall the drawer. This side here is additional storage. Can use it as a utility storage or whatever you would like to use it for. Okay, we're going to look at the 5-inch user interface panels located various places throughout the coach. So once you come in, you'll see it'll go to the light function automatically. You can press the home icon and it will take you to this page, which you can get to lights, vent fans, shades, TV lift, climate settings, floor heat, power, your tanks, or the things that are available on the exterior. So we'll go through each one of those. So lights allows you to come in and then you can choose the room. So this one here has living room, bathroom, kitchen, half bath, bedroom. Depending on the coach, those will vary by coach and floor plan. Then the available lights in that area will appear here. If they're on, they will be blue. So if we want to turn the accent lights on, you can see those just went to blue as well. Courtesy lights, kitchen lights. There's also on selected settings, there's a dimmer over here on the side will allow you to select that and then turn it on or off and then adjust the amount of light with the dimmer. There are some master switches down here on the bottom side, some all on and all off for that area. So like this one here is in the kitchen, you can do all on or off in the ceiling. Go into the bedroom, it changes to the bedroom ceiling lights and on and off as well. If we go into the vent fans page, that will show us the available vent fans in the coach. So this particular one has one in the kitchen, half bath, and bathroom. So once you get there, underneath there, you have to turn it on. So you have a power button, and then there's low, medium, or high, as well as the rain sensor override feature. So the rain sensor override feature, if there's moisture on there or if it's been closed due to rain, there may be some moisture setting on there, or if you've taken a hot shower and some moisture is condensated on the sensor, it may not want to come on. You can hit the rain sensor override and it will ignore that and open up and do what you tell it to. Be aware that if you do turn the rain sensor override on, that in the event that it would rain or start to rain after you've opened it up, it will not close on its own unless you go in and turn the rain sensor override off. Each one of the fans operate exactly the same way I just explained as the one in the kitchen. So we'll move on. The next one is shades. So you can do all coach day or all coach night shades from one location, or you can go individually into the rooms, living room, bedroom, bathroom, and half bath. The TV lift icon will open up the TV lift page, simply an up or a down switch. So touching either one of those will raise it, and it will go until it stops unless you touch it again. If you touch it again, it'll stop where it's at, and then you can lower it if you wanted to. Back to the home screen. In the climate settings, once again, you can choose what room you want to do, or you can click the all zone sync. That will keep all the rooms at the same setting. It will allow you to take the temperature up or down and then select your mode. Right now it's off. There's cool, there's automatic, heat pump, furnace, fan only, or off. In addition to that one, you also have a choice over here of the fan itself. You can turn the fan on automatic, low, medium, or high. If you use this fan, low, medium, or high, it will force the fan on all the time on the air conditioner unit to circulate air, and it will not turn on and off as the compressor turns on and off. There's also a hold button that would hold the temperature. That you have an ECO button that will turn on the ECO mode, and depending on what you have the ECO mode set at is what it'll do. So we'll kind of touch on that in setup here. So you can go in here and you can set the climate for different programs or for the AGS to come on and off. You can also enable the dual heat mode where it will use the furnace or Oasis system as well as the heat pump. If you don't have it on all sync, you can go into each zone and set the temperature individually in those zones. There's also the Oasis button here that will bring up the Oasis screen, which allows you to turn the burner on and the AC element, or both AC elements, as well as if you want the heater on in the half bath. Sometimes they get warm, so sometimes people want those off, so we have a separate switch for the fan in those areas. The stuff on the top here, this here tells you the status of what's going on with the Oasis system. If the burner's on and active, if the AC element 1 or 2 is shed, or if the heater has a fault, or if there's a zone fault. Going to the floor heat icon opens up the floor heat page. The floor heat page allows you to turn on the floor heat for different zones. So it's a front, middle, or rear zone. And then you can select if you want them on low, medium, or high once you've turned them on. So they're all three on. There's one on low, there's one on medium, there's one on high. You're done with the floor heat, just simply press them and turn them off. For the coaches that have the power icon, that will open up the power page. I think this is primarily on coaches with the lithium battery system. So it'll show you like 1 and 2, what your voltage is, what the amperage is, and it will also show you about inverter 1 and inverter 2, as well as what your chargers are on from the inverter. Also shows you your chassis and house voltage. If you go into systems, opens up the energy management system, and it shows you that we're plugged into 220 volt, 50 amp service, and these here show you that all these are on. If we were plugged into 120 volt 30 amp circuit or less, it would show 110 volt and it would automatically defer to 30 amps. If we were plugged into less than 30 amps, we would need to come in and manually select that lower amperage. And then instead of all these being on, depending on what the loads are, some of them would be off or shed. Moving on from the energy management system to the solar. If the coach came installed with solar option, the solar page will come up and it will show the status of what's going on with the solar panel. In the generator screen, it will show if the generator is running and the temperature. It also has the display here for the automatic generator start. It will tell you if you're in quiet time, or if you have shore power, or if what demand has turned on the AGS. So if the air conditioners turned it on, the HVAC demand would light up. If low chassis or house battery turned the automatic generator start on, those would be illuminated as well. There is a manual start-stop switch here. If you use those, or any of the remote switches throughout the coach, like on the dash or on the generator itself, it will automatically disable the automatic generator start. There is a setup page in there for how long the batteries will, either the state of charge that they need to drain down to before it kicks them on, or the voltage. If you were on the chassis battery, it'd be voltage. On the house battery, it's percentage. And then how long do we want it to run? And that's in hours here. Going back to the tank screen now. The tanks icon will open up the tank screen where you can see the level of fresh, gray, black, and LP if LP is installed on the coach. There's also on that screen a switch for your water pump. You can turn it on and off. You can turn your water fill on and off, or you can top off the tank as long as you're connected to city water. The exterior icon will open up the exterior page and allow you to control the entry door locks. Keep in mind these are going to be the door in the center of the coach and the cargo locks. So you can unlock them. It'll show the lock unlocked, or you can lock all of them with the master. This does not control the cab doors. This is just the house and the cargo. The exterior lights will allow you to do the driver or passenger security lights, as well as the lights on the kitchen or living room awnings and other awnings if they're installed. So we'll go back to the home screen, and that pretty much concludes our run through on this panel. There is this one that looks like a sun up here, and that does control the brightness of the screen, so you can dim it down if it's too bright for you. Starting here in the overhead cabinet above the entrance door, over here to the left we have the blank cover up on the ceiling for the satellite prep. That will expose a conduit with a pull wire in it if you want to install a satellite system. You have the Wi-Fi Ranger router right here on the shelf, and then below it 120 volt outlet. There's a sticker here on this panel here that says solar prep, so the solar prep wires are behind this. This panel here is the Girard awning panel, so you can press it and it gives you a channel. You have channel 1, 2, or channel 0. Channel 0 will run the front and rear main awning out at the same time. Channel 1 will operate the front awning, and channel 2 will operate the rear awning. So you can press, once you've selected the channel, you can press out, in, or stop. So anytime that you're running an awning in or out, you can hit stop and stop it in the desired position. The switch right here looks like a light icon that will turn the awning lights on for whichever awning that you've selected. Or once again, if you're on 0, it will do it on both awnings. There's also a lock and unlock button here if you want to lock this control out from accidentally being touched. You can press and hold the lock button. Next to the Girard control is the Winegard Razor antenna control. Anytime you want to watch over-the-air television, we kind of mentioned this in the video for how to program the TV to watch over-the-air or cable television. So if you want to watch over-the-air television, this needs to be turned on. Once it's turned on, it'll go through a search sequence. It'll let you know how many channels that it found on the antenna. These two buttons down below here allow you to fine-tune the station in if you need to. And there's another search button here that will throw it into a new search if you need to do a new search. Anytime that you want to watch cable television, this needs to be turned off, and the cable will need to be hooked up in the outside cord reel compartment to bring cable TV into your TVs. But this here will turn that off, so you won't be able to get cable if it's on, and you will be able to get cable if it's off. And next to that we have the Victron inverter panel, and it will basically just show you inverter 1 is in a float charge, inverter 2 is in a float charge. If it was in a bulk charge, it would say bulk or absorption, whichever one it's in. Also is showing you that the Lithionics battery is at 99%, 13.5 volts, and what it's charging at. Also has how much the solar charger is charging. We're inside of a building right now, so it says 0 watts. If you wanted to see if we had any notifications, you could go into that. This one here says no notifications, so we'll go back. And then you can go into settings, do several things in the settings area, and then anytime that this is the main screen that you'll see when it comes up. And it's kind of showing you what's going on here. Your inverter is charging. Your inverter is charging to your batteries. And if it was inverting, these arrows would be going the opposite way. And this is kind of a brief overview of what's going on for AC loads and what you got going on with the power coming in to the coach. And then if you had the solar system hooked up, what it would be charging as well. You can hit that at any time and it'll open up, and then it'll have these pages. The pages is what we were on a minute ago. You get into the menu, and then you can go back and forth between the main screen and the pages screen. Dropping down to the switch panels below there, you have the driver's side window awning, so you can extend or retract the window awning. The passenger side one, you can turn the Wi-Fi router on or off. The entrance lock or unlock the door. This is the baggage lock and unlock. And then the step cover. We'll go ahead and finish this panel out before I explain the step cover, because we'll need to change the camera around a little bit. And then this is the entry exit step. So this coach has an electric step on it, and if the switch is in this position, every time you open and close the door, the step will go in or out according to what you've done with the door. And if you flip this switch up, that's overriding the entry step switch on the door. So no matter if you open or close the door, the step will stay out. There is an ignition override on that. If you turn the ignition on and the door's closed, it will retract the entrance step regardless of this switch position. Next to that, we have the battery management system, power, and then we have a blank switch. So this here, when it's blue, means the battery system is on and active. If the system gets down to 10% state of charge, it will automatically shut off. If this has automatically shut off, when you turn it back on, you can turn it back on and get power back into the coach. But you need to either turn the generator on or plug into shore power so that your battery bank can start charging. And once you do that, you want to actually come up here and look at one of these screens to make sure that the batteries are in fact taking a charge. If you run your battery completely dead, you may have to get assistance, and you may have to get a special charger to get the system back up and running. So just do yourself a favor. If you have to turn this switch on, get it plugged in or start the generator so it starts charging. This switch here is the battery disconnect. Turning this off will disconnect the house batteries from most loads in the coach, and it will kill all the lights and touch panels inside the coach. Your exterior light switch here, this bank of lights switches here for the exterior. So rear security light on and off, driver security light on and off, passenger security light on and off, your patio light, it's just an on-off switch, and then your exit LED lights, exterior LED lights. So these would be on the exterior of the coach, usually under a slide out. Then these two switches here are for slide outs, and these will run your slide outs in or out. So in is retracted, out is extended, and these are momentary contact switches. You have to push them in the direction you want the slide out to travel and hold them the entire time that it's moving. On the slide out, which is your full wall slide out, that one you'll want to hold it in or out all up until the pump. You hear the pump shut off. So if you think it's in all the way, just keep holding it and it'll shut off in about 10 seconds or so. Same with when you run it out, you want to press and hold the switch until you hear the pump shut off. The electric slide outs will also shut off once they have reached their maximum in or out position. Over here we have our HWH leveling system pad, and we want to use this and level the coach after we have ran the slide out rooms out or extended them. Once we've extended them with the coach on airbags, then we want to level the coach with the hydraulic leveling. It's this opposite way. When we go to run our rooms in, we want to auto store our jacks, start the coach and let it air up, and then retract the rooms. So once again, they're on airbags. The switch just below there is the HWH master reset switch. And basically this just cuts all the power to the HWH system. And it tells you to hold it for 5 seconds. So holding it for 5 seconds with no power to the system just resets the system in case that there's been some glitch. Okay, now we'll go over the step cover switch. Is the switch that we bypassed for the time being. So this switch will allow you to run the step cover in or out. And so here you're seeing the step. I'm going to activate the step switch cover. It's going to come out. It's going to lift up. And now during travel or whatever, I can actually stand on this. I can walk on it and not have to worry about falling down in the steps. Once I'm done with that, I want to use the steps to go in and out of the coach. Simply press the switch the opposite way and it will lower, retract, and store the step cover. Located just inside the entrance door is a all switch and all lights off switch. Pressing it will turn all the lights off that are on the multiplex system. Any light that is not on that multiplex system will not be affected. There's some closet lights and engine lights and some other things like that, compartment lights that are not affected by that. And then when you come in, for your convenience, you can press it up and it will turn on all the ceiling lights in the living room area. It doesn't turn all the lights back on. It will turn all the lights off, but only turns on the ceiling lights in the living room when you come back in. Just below it, we have a fire extinguisher. Grab the clip here and release it. You can remove it real easily then from the holder and follow the directions on the fire extinguisher to pull the pin and spray on the flames. Located down here near the corner is the inner vac system. It's a central vac system, and we have a bag of accessories that come in the basement. To use them, you just come in here and remove that warning label which says make sure there's a bag in the system. Anyways, you insert your hose there and you can use the hose system. And then for this side, you simply lift it up and you can sweep the debris right in to this opening here. Once you're finished, just close it and it'll shut the system down. There's also a bag of accessories and a hose. So you have another port over here, and this port allows you to connect this hose into the port. And then this is a remote operated on-off switch to turn the unit on and off down in the basement. So just remember two things about it. One, if it doesn't work, there's a couple of screws here that can be taken off. This can be opened up. There's a battery inside there. It's battery operated. Second thing is to remember about this is if you store this in a place that this button gets hit, it does not have to be connected to turn the system on. That's the two most important things to remember about the system. But anyway, after that, you can hit the button once, turn it on, hit it again, and turn it off. This can also be used directly in the basement from the central vac system. There's a port down there that the hose can be plugged into, and so you can sweep your cargo bays also. So we're going to look at the 10-inch user interface panel located near the center of the coach. If the screen is black, it means it's went to sleep. Just touch it anywhere, it'll open up. So this is the home screen. Everything you can do on this panel, you can do on the 5-inch panels, and everything that you can do on the 5-inch panels, you can do on this panel. They're laid out a little bit different, and they're a little bit easier to get to because you don't have to go through as many pages on this one. But from the home screen, you can turn on your water pump. You can activate your water fill or your top off. You can see your tank levels. You can see your house and chassis battery levels. You can also see your climate and what it's set at, and if it's on or off. You can also turn on ceiling lights all on or off here. You can do the shades, living room, day or night shades, and that'll operate all of them right here on the home screen. You can lock and unlock your cargo or your entry door locks right there. So it's just a bigger screen. You can get to more stuff on one screen, on the home screen, and then you can still go into these separate icons here and get more detailed stuff like we were going over on the 5-inch. So from the climate screen, you can select living room, bathroom, or bedroom, and you can turn on the AC or adjust the fans and the temperature in each zone separately if you wish. The Oasis, it's laid out right here on each one of them. You don't have to look for it. And then you can turn on your AC element 1 or 1 and 2 as well. Once you turn on your Oasis, the status shows over here on what's going on with it. You can also go into setup. There's a few things that's nice about setup. There's the setup information you got going on here, but there's 4 more screens here, so don't forget about those. So on this one here, you can enable stuff, your climate or your AGS or your programs, whatever you want. In the clock section, this is where you'll actually set the time of the day and the date. Then set program is going to be where you are doing day, night, or ECO. Once you go into ECO, ECO will let you adjust this here temperature difference from 5-degree difference, 2-degree difference, up to a 15-degree difference. So if you have your ECO on and somebody's adjusted this to 15 degrees, if you're on cooling, it's going to get 15 degrees warmer than your setting before it kicks in. If you're on heating, it's going to get 15 degrees colder than your setting before it kicks in and warms it up. So it's supposed to be a way you can save some energy, maybe when you're not at home or whatever. Personally, I don't want my temperature to vary that much, but it is available for you to do. Set week allows you to go in and set the days of the week that you want different temperatures with your climate. Moving on to the shades screen. The shades will allow you to do the shades in an individual room, or you can use the all night or all day shade functions over here on this side. Once you go into a different room, your options change a little bit based on the room and how many shades are in there. Moving on to the fans icon. This will allow you to turn the vent fans on in the kitchen, bathroom, or half bath. Once you turn the power on, you can adjust them from high, medium, or low. It also has the rain override button on it. If there's water accumulated, moisture accumulated on the rain sensor and it won't power on because of that, you can hit the rain override and still power your fan on. It will not close if it's on rain override if it starts raining out. So you want to make sure that if there's rain in the forecast, you don't have your rain override switch turned on. Your floor heat will allow you to control the floor heat in the front, middle, or rear section of the coach. Once you turn the power on, you can select from high, medium, or low. You can do that for each zone individually. Once you're done, just turn them off. The power screen will be on coaches with lithium batteries. It will show you what's going on with leg 1 and leg 2 and the amperage being used there. It'll also show you if your inverters are turned on and your chargers are turned on. Gives you chassis battery voltage and house voltage, as well as the amperage and state of charge on your house batteries. Systems will do the energy management system. Right now we're plugged into a 220 volt 50 amp service, so nothing is going to be shed. If we were plugged into 110 volt 30 amp or less circuit, we would want to, if we were plugged into 30 amps, it's fine. It's going to default to 30 amps, and then it's going to shed these loads according to the 30 amp available power. If you're plugged into anything less than 30 amps, you need to come in here and manually select the lower amperage, and then it will shed these loads accordingly to try to keep you from blowing the breaker. In the solar screen, if you have solar installed on the coach from the factory, this will be set up and it will show what's going on with the solar system. The generator screen will allow you to start and stop the generator right here. It will also show you the status. If it's running, it will show you the temperature and the RPMs of the generator. Will also show you if the gen slide has been activated, and if the gen slide had been activated, it would be locked out. Over here on this side, it will show you what the demand was that started the generator on automatic gen start if it started, and it will also show you the status here. If the generator's running, it will be lit up. If it's during quiet time or it's plugged into shore power and it's not letting the generator start due to shore power, it will show that as well. Over here on the power side, you have the AGS on and off and quiet time on and off. And then you can go into setup where you can set the duration for the charger, the generator to run based on it kicking on a house battery or a chassis battery. And then also you can go in and set under quiet, you can set up what your quiet times are for the RV park that you're camping in. Under the exterior, you can go in and turn on your driver or passenger security lights, or your rear security light, or your bedroom awning light. Also will allow you to lock the doors, the entry or the cargo doors, or you can lock all of them at once with the master switch. This also shows you a status of the doors on the coach, the exterior doors on the coach, and if they're open or not. Under the lighting icon, take you to the lighting page where you can select, much like on the shades, the living room, kitchen, bedroom, half bath, or the bathroom. And the lights that the available lights to turn on and off will change based on what room that you have selected. There are master ceiling lights all on and off as well, so you can use those as well to turn on or off the lights. The icon here for the sun allows you to dim this page or make it brighter. If you dim it all the way down, you just touch it again and it'll come back on, but allows you to dim the screen down. The Bluetooth icon here will walk you through the instructions on how to connect your phone or iPad, any smart device that is Bluetooth compatible. You can connect by following these instructions, downloading the Newmar app, and then pairing it. Once you do that, if you have your app open on your phone, you'll be able to control everything from your phone or your iPad, just like this panel. Alright, we're going to go into the half bath here and open this cabinet here. It's the electrical panel, and starting here you have all your AC breakers. All towards the center is on. If you have one that's off, it will be in a position like that. If you have one that's tripped, it'll be about halfway. If you have one that's been tripped, you'll need to push it all the way off and then turn it back on to reset it. Here we have the sub panels. These are the circuits that are controlled by the inverter. So these would be powered on if the inverters were working, not everything that's in this panel. These breakers work the same way. Up is on. If you have one off, it'll be down like that. If you have one tripped, it'll be kind of in between. To reset them, flip them all the way off, then back on. Underneath that, we have the GFCI breakers for the floor heat. And so if they would be tripped, they would be like that. To reset them, just push the red button back in. Beside the floor heat breakers is the 12 volt fuses. These fuses are all labeled with a number, and here on the side of the cabinet is the ledger for those. On the standard fuses, if one blows, you just simply have to remove it and replace it with a new one. Down here on these two, these are resettable breakers for the 12 volt. If it was tripped, the center yellow portion would be sticking out. You would just press it back in to reset it. There are some extra fuses up here in the fuse holder to the side of the sub panels, and anytime you're replacing a fuse, just make sure you get the same amperage fuse, and then once you've used one, put another fuse in your holder so you have a spare. Here on the side here are some controls for your ATC, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi for your main touch panel that we just went over before we got into the half bath. And then we got some controllers there as well. In this, you got some storage. In this cabinet here, you have the Starlink receiver. You've got the portion up on the roof, and then you've got the portion in here to make the Starlink system work. Here you have a medicine cabinet with a couple of doors that open up. On the back wall, we have the flush switch for the toilet. So these flush switches, if they're illuminated, they're powered up. The green light says you're good to flush. The level indicator, if that would be yellow or red. Yellow would mean you're about 75% full. You need to think about dumping. If it turns red, this toilet will no longer work. You'll have to dump and get your tanks emptied for it to work again. Here on the switch panel itself, you can either add water or flush. This one would be your flush, and then the top one would be your add water. Along the side here, we have some more storage, a drawer, and a cabinet, as well as a little bit of space underneath the vanity itself here. Got some storage space there, along with some plumbing lines. And Here beside the door, we have another one of the 5-inch user interface panels, and you can do all the functions that we went over on the other two on this screen as well. In the ceiling, you have the fantastic fan. In the event it wouldn't work, you can manually rotate it and open it with this knob here. And if you don't see a red light LED shining there, it may indicate that this fuse is blown. So there's a little fuse holder that you can rotate, pull down. You can check the fuse, replace it, just reinstall it. Coming into the bedroom from the living room area, there's a door. You can push down on the latch there, slide it over. When it gets all the way over, it will relatch in place. To open it back up and store it in the travel position, push back down on the latch. That'll unlatch it. Slide both doors back over and it will relatch in place to keep the doors from sliding back and forth during travel. Here in the bedroom, we have the thermistor for the bedroom zone. Beside the bed, there's a nightstand there. There's a little bit of storage area as well as a outlet with USB and USB-C chargers built in. That's the same as well on the opposite side of the bed. There's another one there as well. And then above the bed, we have some storage along here, as well as a 120 volt outlet in the middle. On each side, underneath here, there's a port on each side if you would need to plug in a CPAP machine in the overhead and run the hoses down through. That is an option, as well as anything else that you'd want to plug in up there and run the cord down through the cabinet. These windows here on the sides open just like the window in the slide out I explained earlier. There is a switch panel on the overhead. It operates and does all the same functions as the 5-inch panels that I've already explained in the video. Underneath the bed, there's storage, and the bed lifts up and is held up by hydraulic struts. So where we ship the dinette tabletop extensions and the extra chairs, the folding chairs. And to close it, you just push back down on it. This air conditioner vent access is just like the one that I showed you in the front of the coach. Once again, remember to clean those. Here on the ceiling, we have a CO detector. This one's a little bit different to get to the battery. If you push this one and test it and you don't get the alarm, you just simply squeeze on the side of it. Allows you to get to the battery. You can replace the battery, close it back, push the center again to make sure that the alarm is working. So over here on the opposite side of the bedroom, in the full wall slide out, you have the slide out switch. This is for the bedroom slide. This will extend or retract the electric bedroom slide. Once again, you have to hold the button in the direction you want it to travel all the way in or all the way out until it stops. You have another 5-inch user interface panel here. It does the same thing as the ones I explained earlier in the video. You can do lights, shades, vents, can view your tanks, do your TV lift, see the exterior of the coach, turn on lights and all that stuff. Here we have a wardrobe cabinet. Also the TV plug is in this cabinet at the back. Underneath there we have the AV cabinet for the bedroom. This is where you would install a satellite receiver or anything for the bedroom TV or a DVD player if you wanted a separate one. There is a HDMI cable already there that goes up to the TV. The rest of these are just storage drawers, so can use those as a dresser. In this one here we have another wardrobe cabinet, and then here in the center we have a window And I'm going to open the shade here real quick for it. This window is an emergency exit window. To use it as an exit, you just pull that out from there, rotate it around, and push this out. You would also grab this handle and pull the screen away. The screen just clips back in, and you can use this as a vent as well, just like I have it right now. Or you can, if you needed to exit, you just, of course, push it out further. To close it back, latch it, rotate that around, and latch it back into that clip there. All right, going into the bathroom here, we have another slider door. Latches and operates the same as the one I just explained on the front of the bedroom. And you do want to keep it in this position for travel. You can move on in here. This cabinet here will open up, expose the washer and dryer. On the dryer itself, you have your selection knob up here, and then your start button, as well as a low high temp button right here. So pretty simple, self-explanatory to use. Washing machine is the same way. You got your power button. You select your cycle here. Slide this here open. It's a container to put your soap and bleach and whatnot in. The one thing that's different on the washing machine from your house is we have this notice here: remove outside drain cap before operating the washing machine. What we're asking you to do is be hooked up to the sewer drain and open your gray tank valve so that your gray tank can, all this water that it's pushing into your gray tank can drain out. Reason being is this uses a lot of water, few loads of laundry, and you'll be filling your tank up and overflowing into the shower. So you don't want to do that. Just go ahead and use your washing machine when you're parked, and you can open up your gray tank drain. Beside that, we have another wardrobe cabinet with a safe, and on the bottom side there is another panel that can be lifted up to access some more storage down below. We haven't talked about it before, but this happened to be in that closet, so we'll talk about it. It's your black bag. Comes with each Newmar coach. Has information in there about your appliances and different items in your coach. Many of those have warranties that can be filled out, turned in, or has a way for those to be done on your computer. Below the vanity, we have some more storage area and drawers. 120 volt outlet. This one is just a standard outlet. There's no USB chargers on it. The medicine cabinet here on the side wall. Thermistor for the bedroom zone. And then another 5-inch user interface panel, which you can do all the things that we've talked about on the other switch panels. The sink, pretty simple single handle, on, off, and adjust your temperature there. One thing that is a little bit different than a lot of places, it has a pop-up drain, so just press it in and out for it to hold water or to empty the water. The toilet, this is the same toilet as we just went over in the half bath, and the switch panel here operates the same as that one. Above the toilet here we have a little bit more storage area, and we have the shower system here. Right over here we have the shower door and a travel latch for the shower door. So to use the shower doors, you need to unlatch it, and then these will slide. But any time that you're going to travel, you want to make sure that these are pushed all the way open and the travel latch is in the locked position. That'll keep those doors from banging around. Once we go in the shower, there is a seat that will fold down, or you can flip it up to store it against the wall. All right, here in the shower, we have a aquamizer system. So this alchemizer system has the blue magic mushroom. It's dark blue in color right now. If we want to use the alchemizer system, we just simply turn this diverter over to the recycle mode. Hot water will start flowing through this, and getting the hot water back here, it will dump that water back into the fresh tank without it coming out of the shower or anything. So it saves water because it doesn't use the water, it doesn't waste the water, and it doesn't fill up your gray tank with that water that you're just wasting waiting for the shower to get warm. So you put it in recycle. This here will turn from this dark blue to a kind of an opaque whitish color. At that point, you'll know that the water's hot. Back here to the shower, you just want to turn this over to the shower position. There's a kind of hard to see, but it's embossed on this metal ring here, the recycle emblem or the shower position symbol over here. So you want to put it over here to the shower position. Then adjust your temperature here for the water in the shower you want. And then this button here will either select, you pull it out. So you pull this button out if you want it to come out your hose instead of the shower head. So it defaults to the shower head. You pull it out and it'll put it to the shower wand if you want it to the shower wand. Now, a couple of important things to know about this alchemizer system. If you're hooked up to city water, the whole time that you're in this recycle mode, it's going to be adding water to your fresh tank. So if your fresh tank's already full, it's going to appear like your top off or your autofill has been enabled and it's running. It may fill up and run over. So anytime you're connected to city water, you want to keep this in the shower position. You also want to keep it in that position when you're running antifreeze through when you're winterizing. It's okay to put it to this position when you're blowing the system out. It'll blow that water out, and then you want to put it back to this position. Some people turn their shower off to save water while they're doing their shower. If you do that with this recycle position, just know that if you're hooked up to city water, you're putting more water in your fresh tank and it may overflow. So this system was mostly designed for dry camping when you're running on your freshwater tank and a pump, and you're trying to conserve water from your fresh tank and not fill up your gray tank and all that stuff. It's okay to still use it if you're connected to city water. Just be aware that you're adding water. Okay, starting here on the front of the Cascadia chassis, there's a latches here to open the hood, and you can see them back in there. You grab the lever and pull down on it, and then you have to unclip the hook from the lower latch. I've already done that on the other side to make the video easier, and then come out here and just pull on this right in the center, and you can open up the hood. That accesses the coolant fill, and you can see the cold and hot full lines there. Here's your power steering fluid fill. Your engine oil dipstick is right here, and then the engine oil fill would be right here. This is your fuel filter and water separator. We'll go around to the other side and we'll look at the stuff on the other side. Here's the fill for your windshield washer fluid bottle, and your air dryer for the air system on your coach. So once you've opened the hood, there's a latch here that engages, and to lower the hood back down, you'll have to press that like that in order to lower the hood. Once the hood's lowered, you'll need to relatch the hood. You can grab this hook here and engage it in the lower portion, and then push up on the lever. Okay, here in the front, you have your turn signals and headlights on each side. You have your front camera is mounted right here. That's for the camera that we went over above the dash, where you could see all around your coach. Right in the center of the windshield in the front and right here, those are part of the Detroit Assurance package that comes with your coach for collision mitigation, lane change warnings, and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you keep this area clean of any debris and don't cover it with a license plate or anything. Once again, we mentioned about doing the light test. You can press that button on the dash. You can come out here and see all your lights operate and flash so that you know they're operational before you go on a trip. Here at the passenger door, as well as the driver door, you have power mirrors. Those are adjustable like we showed you from the driver's position on the driver door. In addition to the power mirrors, on the passenger side, there's a mirror here so that you can see the side from the driver's area. That is manually adjustable. And then moving just back from there, this would be where the flag pole holder slides into. I showed you that earlier in the kitchen cabinet. So that's where the flagpole holder goes. This would be your right-hand side camera. That would be the one that would come on when you turn your turn signal on, or when you're viewing the side of the coach. There's another one right behind the entrance door that's showing down when you're looking on the side view of the coach. There's one of those on each side as well. Moving into the first compartment here, we just have a storage area. The lighting comes on and off with the switch here. It's a magnetic switch. Next compartment back has got the HWH pump assembly in. The reservoir is right behind the pump, and this can be accessed by pulling these pins out here. And you can slide this out for easier access. And the dipstick is right here on the top of the reservoir. Anytime that you want to check that for the fluid level, you want to do that with the jacks retracted and the hydraulic slides extended. So that would be your full wall slide out on this coach. When you're done, you just want to push this back in, hold it while you put the pins back in place. For your next compartment back, the Oasis Chinook. This is the system that does your hot water, and it does the heating for the hydronic heating in the coach. For this system to work properly, this power button needs to be turned on. That will allow you to control the Oasis off of the user interface on the inside. There are several things here. There's an hour meter on top, shows you how many hours that it's been operating. There's a window here so you can see the flame when it's burning. It tells you here if you have AC power here for the heat, for the heating elements. And then it tells you a few more things along here, like if the fuel pump's operating, the combustion fan or the compressor is operating, it tells you that right there. Then down below there is igniter flame out voltage and low water. Those are faults that are possible. The LEDs will illuminate red if there's a fault. You can try fixing the issue if it's a voltage or low water issue. That one's pretty easy for the customer to fix. And once that's done, you can press the reset button and the system will probably come back and be operational. Any time that there's red LEDs there and you can't fix the issue, you'll need to take it for service. In addition to that, right up here on the side is a zone board, and that has several LEDs on it. If they're green, they're good. If they're red, it means that there's an issue with it. That cover can be removed, and there's some fuses underneath that panel that can be replaced if needed. In the event that you couldn't control your system from the user interface on the inside there, there is a Oasis panel here, remote panel for Oasis. You can disconnect there, connect it in over here at the silver box, and you can operate this hydronic heating system as a standalone system. Moving back to the next compartment, this is your pegboard compartment. This houses your freshwater tank in there, and then your freshwater tank drain is right here. So if you do this, it's open and it'll start draining. You keep it up like that anytime you want it to hold water, store water for you. Here above the compartment, we have the outside entertainment center. It has a Samsung TV and a sound bar in it. You can grab a hold on both sides and pull that. It will allow you to bring it out and twist it for better viewing. When you're finished, you want to take that, push it back against there firmly, and the magnets will catch it. The sound bar, you can use it just like the one on the inside. You can use it to listen to what's on the TV, or you can Bluetooth to it and listen to music out here. There is an additional plug here on the side, 120 volt with USB and USB-C chargers integrated. And anytime you want to lock this, there's a key. Comes with a master set of keys for this coach. I believe it's the purple one that will lock and unlock that door. Moving back into the next compartment, we have the exterior refrigerator freezer on a slide tray. This can be pulled out for easier access. There is a 12 volt and a 120 volt plug as well as the outlets for each of those right here. So it can be plugged in. If there's AC power available, there won't be power to this 12-volt outlet here. So you can turn the power on here. You can adjust the, go into the menu here, and you can set the temp, or you can Bluetooth to it. You can also set up Wi-Fi, and you can change the intensity of the display, and you can select between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So once you go into the temperature settings, you hit OK. You can raise this temperature up to, the 38, 39, 40 degree area to make it like a refrigerator, or you can take it all the way down, to 0 for a freezer. Depending on what you want to store in here would be how you set this up. If you don't want it to operate, you can just power it off, press and hold the switch. It'll power down. So behind the freezer is your Trimark control for your entry door and your grab handle. And so we're going to touch base in a second here on the grab handle and the code for it. But while we're in this bay, we're going to talk about this little switch right here. It's located real close to the Trimark module here. That's the switch that you need to press to put the Trimark into program mode. Once you put it in program mode, you can enter your own 5-digit code using the numbers 1 through 4 into the system. There is a time limit on how long that stays in program mode. So once you put it in program mode, you need to go to the grab handle and do your programming right away. So here at the entry door, above the entry door, we have the patio light. Then we have the door itself here. Can be opened and closed with or without the screen. The screen can be latched to it or operated separately. To lock the door, we can manually lock it like this, and that will lock the bottom lock, which can be opened via the key fob. It can be opened via the key, or it can be opened via the touchpad here on the grab handle. The top lock that you see here is the deadbolt lock, and that one can only be locked and unlocked either manually on the inside of the coach or manually with the key on the outside of the coach. That will be the large Trimark key. The round 1141 key will be the key for the lower portion. Once again, I was saying you could lock or unlock the entry door or the cargo locks with a key fob. We'll also talk real quick here about how we can do that via the panel here. So to lock, just press and hold the number 1. It also has a lock emblem there. That locks the cargo doors and the entry door. To unlock, the factory code is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1 will unlock just the entry door. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2 will unlock the entry door and the cargo doors. The key for the outside entertainment center is the gray key. It says Global Link on it. You can put it in, lock it, put it in, unlock it. Right beside the entrance door is the side view camera that we talked about earlier. A half-bath window, marker light, and one of the docking lights. There's another one right behind the rear axle as well. Then we have the security light. when you're looking down beside the tire, on the back side of the tire, at the rear, that's where you'd spot your HWH jacks. And then the front one would be up underneath the front near the entrance steps for the front cab. The slide out toppers are attached to the slide out and the sidewall. So when the slide out comes out, they automatically come out with the slide out. And then the Girard awnings on the top, we talked about a little bit earlier on the inside with the remote in the overhead. There's also a handheld remote. It has the same icons and in and out channels and all that stuff as we went over in there. We can go to channel 0 and we can run both awnings out at the same time, and then we can turn the lights on and off at the same time as well. You do want to make sure that these awnings are stowed, retracted anytime that there's high winds or wind gusts in the forecast or heavy rain. If you keep your inverter turned on or the coach plugged in or the generator running to supply AC power to the awnings, there is a shake sensor on them that if the awning shakes, goes up and down enough, when it catches the wind, it will take it in. Downside is sometimes those don't work fast enough for wind gusts. So I'll try to do a simulation here for you. Once the shake sensor has been activated for whichever awning it was activated on, it will retract all the way before it can be operated again. You cannot stop it and run it back out, and the shake sensors do run independently. So we're gonna stow those awnings back up there. We're gonna turn the lights back out, and we'll move on to the next section here. Moving back behind the rear axle, the next compartment back. This compartment has a manual slide out tray in it. It has the accessories for the inner vac, central vac system, and it has the emergency retraction rods for the HWH slide out. Over here on this side is the main KIB panel for all the lighting controls, and once you take possession of this, you can remove this here cover. It's a smoked glass and you can see through it. Above there are some more relays and contacts, and then we have the central vac system here. To open up the port to plug in the hose, you can do that there. You can turn it on and off manually with the switch there. You can also do it off of the switch that's on the hose system, like we explained in the video earlier. And then to access the filter, you can take this cover off, and this filter is supposed to be in there. So first of all, you put it back here on this side of the system, and then you put the front one here on this side of the door, and then you can snap that plate back in place, and then you're ready to vacuum. The next compartment back is more storage. This is where the extra tile that comes shipped with your coach is. Those tiles match the same die lot as the tiles in your coach. And then we have the two Girard awning controls right here. They're plugged in right here. This is the outlet that they're plugged into. And so in the event that your remotes didn't work, you could come back here. You could check these, see that if they're powered on. If not, find out what the deal is with the power. And then they also have 3 switches on them here for in, out, and stop. So you can control them right here from these controls as well. You have one of your hitch accessories for your Gen Y hitch on the back. The slide out control here for the bedroom slide out. It's located there. There's a LED light on it, and it also shows what the amperage setting is for that slide out. Right here is the release lever for the rear of the coach, so we can We can pull this here, but you want to make sure that you have enough clearance and you stand clear of the door, because once you release it, it will open. Right above that is a switch for the light here on the rear. Then moving around to the back of the coach, of course, we have the door we just opened. There's a light here that you can manually turn on and off in there. Some storage racks and an area for long storage, like tables or golf equipment or anything else that you'd long skis, anything that you want to put in there. On the rear here, we have the Gen Y hitch assembly. We have the 7-pin Bargeman towing plug. This is a plug for extra Voyager cameras. If you have a stacker trailer or something you're pulling and you have cameras in it, they can be hooked up here and then be viewed on that camera system up in the front over the dash. And then here you have your round towing pin connection as well. Once you're finished in this area, you can push this down. You want to press firmly over here, and if this doesn't line up flush, you want to come over here and push each side so you make sure that you get it in the second latch on both of those latches. So you have the brake lights, reverse lights, your back lights, third brake light, your rear camera. That's the camera that shows you the back here and what you're towing. Also shows you rear portion of that 360 view as well. And then there's a rear security light there. All right, moving around to the driver's side of the coach. Here at the rear, got a security light up top, got the dryer vent, exhaust, marker light, and then starting in the bays here at the back, we got more storage. This is a pass-through bay that goes all the way over to the other side. Store long items in there. There's also a 50 amp plug here for like a stacker trailer. I believe that's optional. Then the next compartment forward, we have the Onan generator. So a few things I'll point out here. This is your coolant fill right here, and then you can unclip these, and then this would be your generator engine oil fill, and then the dipstick for your engine oil here, and your filter. Let's make it fairly easy to get to all that stuff behind this panel. You do have your hour meter here showing how long the generator's been running, and you have a switch here that you can start the generator from. Once you press it, it will flash, it will prime and preheat, it will start. And then once you're done, you can just press the button to stop it. Keep in mind that if you do manually start this system, this generator, from either this switch or the one on the dash, it will kick out the AGS. If you have it set up for automatic generator start, you'll have to reset it. Another important thing here is this breaker right here. If this breaker is turned off, your generator will start and run. You'll think your generator is producing AC power to you, but you won't have any power. This must be up in the on position. If for any reason it would trip, it can be turned off and reset. Moving forward here on the fender, you have your docking lights, and you have a sewer hose storage area here. That is not a sealed compartment, so that if you have any residual water or anything in your sewer hose, it can drain out. But once again, your rear jack is right behind the rear tire here, just on the inside of it there. And it's always good to do a visual check before you leave to make sure those jacks are up, no matter what your touchpad says. You have your engine exhaust pours out here. This compartment is your water compartment bay. There's a number of things that can be done in this compartment. We'll start here with the whole house filter. that comes not installed from the factory. To install it, you need to remove this locking tab, turn this clockwise here. You can open it up, remove the plastic from the filter, put the filter down in there. There's a tab down in there it sets on, as well as a tab up here that it goes on. You line those up and then tighten the filter housing back up. Once you have it nice and tight, you can reinstall the locking tab. Once the filter's installed, you're ready to pull out your hose here. It's manual operation to pull it out. You stow it in the hatch there. Remove this end here, this cap here, and then you can connect this to your potable water supply. So once you have that connected to potable water supply, it says right here not more than 60 psi. If you're at one that's more than 60 psi, you can buy a pressure reducer and put in front of the hose there for that. We have our hot and cold low point drains. So anytime that you're wanting to use water in the system, you want to make sure these are closed. When you get ready to winterize, you'd want to open these up, open the faucets up inside, let the water drain out as much as possible before you do the winterizing process outlined over here, and we'll get to that in a minute. But then once you're done, you'd want to close these back up before you ran antifreeze through the system. This is an outside shower. You can take that off, single handle, just the on off and the temperature there, and allows you to rinse off your hands or any equipment in here you'd want to rinse off after hooking up your hose or your sewer hose, either one. Okay, we'll touch on dumping the black tank. So to dump the tanks, you would remove this cap here, connect your 4-inch hose, run your 4-inch hose to your sewer dump station, and then you would open your black tank valve. You would put it to open, and you would let your black tank empty. Once your black tank was empty, you would go ahead, if you wanted to rinse your black tank, you would go ahead and hook up a water hose at that time to your black tank rinse here. While that was open, that would allow water to spray in your tank and flush out anything in your black tank. Once you're finished rinsing your black tank, you would disconnect your hose there. You would open the black tank rinse port there, and that would take off any pressure that would be on that line. Then you'd disconnect your hose, put your cap back on. You'd go ahead then at that time and turn off your black tank valve. Then you would open your gray tank valve. Once your gray tank was empty, you would close it and go ahead and disconnect your sewer hose. And most dump stations have a non-potable water source at the dump station, so you can rinse out your hose. So take that, rinse out your hose, and then store it in the storage compartment above the driver's side fender there that we showed you a few minutes ago. In the event that your black or gray tank valves were not operating, there is a little breaker right here that if that pops, you can reset it and hopefully get it working again. Below that is your fresh water selector, and so you can turn it all the way down here to this position. It says manual tank fill and auto override. So in this position, it will manually fill the tank, and you can either watch the level of it on one of your monitor panels, like here or inside the coach, to see when it's full. If you allow it to stay on this too long, it will overflow the tank and you'll start seeing water pour out underneath the coach. At that time, you'd want to turn the valve to city or the city and autofill position, whichever one you choose. So the city supply position will allow the city water to come in, go through the filter, go into the coach, but it will not allow the auto tank fill to operate, even if you have it selected here on the panel. And then the third position would be your auto tank fill and auto city supply. This is what most people are going to use when they are connected to their potable water source. It allows them to use water from the potable water source the whole time they're camping, and it allows them to go into their user interface and either hit top off or autofill. Either one of those, autofill will keep the tank filled to the at least about the 90% stage. Once it comes on, I think it lets it get down to about 50% before it kicks in, and then it fills it up. Anyways, then that also allows them to use water from the potable water source or their fresh tank as well, and keep it full. This panel here is the water bay user interface. It'll go dark. You can just touch it. It'll come on. There is, just like the other panels, there's like a sun button here that allows it to dim the panel. Out here on this particular one, you're a little more limited than you are on the inside of the coach. So there's just 3 icons out here, so you can do your tanks, you can view your tank levels, you can turn on your water pump, turn on your autofill, or turn on your top off. You can also view the power screen. The power screen lets you turn your generator on and off from this location, or you can view your voltages for your chassis and house batteries, and the percentage of charge for your house batteries. And then the exterior button at this panel will allow you to turn on the exterior driver or passenger security light. Over on this side, we have a hose and a series of valves here. This is the winterizing connection, and here are the instructions on how to use it, along with some cautions and warnings there as well. But you would take this hose clamp loose and take this plug out, put this down into your potable antifreeze, open this valve and turn this valve off, and turn the water pump on once you've drained them down, like I explained earlier, for the low point drains there. Once you did that, you would turn your water pump on, suck the antifreeze up through here, and that would push it through the whole house filter here and any of the faucets, toilets, anything. You have to manually operate those, though, to make sure that the antifreeze flows at every location, every faucet location, washer machine, dishwasher, everything that uses water. You need to make sure it gets winterized. And one side note, before you do that, you want to remove this filter as well as the filter in the refrigerator, so that you didn't contaminate those with the potable antifreeze. Once you had pink antifreeze coming out of each faucet, and you've ran enough out of the faucet to winterize the drain, you would come out and close these valves and open this one and put your plug back in your clear hose, and that would be your winterizing process. There is a couple of cautions and warnings here for your aquamizer, and not to have that in the recycle mode, because you'll just run that fluid into your fresh tank. Once you're done in here and you're ready to store your water hose, you can come in here and disconnect it from the slot there, and you can use the power switch here to retract it. Put your cap back on, keep any debris from getting in your freshwater hose. Store all your components back in there, and you'd be done in this compartment. Forward of the water bay, we have our cord reel compartment, and this on the outside does have a warning not to exceed the 220 volt 50 amp wiring, and you can also connect it to 120 volts as well. In this compartment, you have your cord reel. It's like the water hose reel. It's manual to extend it. Once you've extended it, you can push it in the cord hatch behind the cord rail. I've already removed the panel, but there's a lot of fuses and relays and resettable fuses behind there, and the labels are here telling you what they go to. So just like the 12-volt panel on the inside, if it's a resettable breaker, the center will pop out. It can be pushed in to reset it. If it's a normal fuse, if it blows, you'll have to replace it. Make sure you replace it with the same size, and those are listed here on the labels. We have our transfer switch over here on the right hand side. That takes the shore power or the generator power and goes through a relay, supplies it up to the main fuse panel on the inside. The job of this transfer switch is to make sure that the two connections don't be powered on at the same time. So if you're plugged in and somebody starts a generator, it doesn't let those two powers connect together. It will take, it does prefer the generator power. That's the priority circuit. So anytime the generator's on, it will transfer the power from the generator through to the panel. And anytime there's no generator power, it will transfer the power from the shore cord through to the breaker box. There is a display here to the side of it that will show you what the voltage and amperage is for the electricity coming into this. It will also display faults if there's any for the transfer switch. And then below that is your cable TV hookup. If you have part cable, this is where you can hook it up. And once again, don't forget, if you have part cable, you must have your TV razor antenna switch off on the inside, or it won't transfer through from this port all the way to your TV. On this side is some more relays and the main board for the user interface panels on the inside of the coach. There's a water line up here that goes to the slide out, and we have the LED light over here on the side. Once again, switch activated. Here, when you close the door, it will turn off. When you're ready to disconnect from shore power and store your cord, the switch is here on the door. You can straighten your cord up here and press the switch, and it will retract the cord in. We're going to leave it plugged in, so we're not going to retract it all the way right now. Moving forward of that bay, and moving forward of the cord reel bay, you have your battery and inverter bay. This coach was optioned with the Lithionics battery package. So you have your lithium batteries, your BMS over in the corner there. You have your MMPT solar controller here on the side as well. There are a number of breakers back on the back wall there for your main power going to your inverters. And these inverters here, there's a switch on them in the center right here, and it will say on, inverter on, off, or charger only. For everything to work and display correctly on the inside on your inverter panel above the entrance door, these need to be turned on, and then you can control these inverters off of that panel to be on, off, or charger only. If you go into storage mode and you don't care about that panel being on, but you want to make sure your batteries are charged, you can turn these into charger only mode here on the inverter themselves. In the event that anything would need to be serviced in here, there is a wiring diagram over there on the side of the wall on how these batteries are hooked up. And there are some fans here in the door to exhaust warm air out of this compartment once it reaches a certain temperature. Moving forward to the battery compartment, we have another compartment, and this is another battery compartment. This is an unsealed compartment, and this metal box here contains your chassis batteries. So you can access your chassis batteries by removing this here and taking that cover off. Your chassis batteries are maintenance free, but they do need to be, you do need to make sure that the terminals stay clean and stuff like that. So just some general maintenance on them. In this bay is just another storage compartment. And then forward to that one, the last bay, you see part of your fuel tank. This container here is the Oasis overflow bottle. And there's this system uses Century hydronic heating transfer fluid, and that there's a minimum and maximum line on this bottle as well. If you need any of that fluid, it is available through the Newmar parts department. Inside of here are air fittings. Those are chassis air fittings. So to get air out of these, the engine would need to be running and the compressor running to keep a constant supply of air here. Otherwise, it will run out when the tanks are depleted. There is a switch here for auxiliary cockpit chairs, and it turns on and off a small air pump to supply pressure for the height adjustment on the air ride seats. We also have a domestic hot water outlet here. So this, if you wanted to hook up a garden hose here and wash your unit, or hook it up to a power washer or anything like that, there's hot water available here as long as your Oasis system is turned on and operating. Along with the rest of the stuff in this bay, there's a filter here for the Oasis heating. That's a diesel fuel filter for that heating system as well. Your side view camera up there in the middle underneath the window, and then the left-hand turn signal camera right behind the door. Just underneath the driver door is a panel that opens up. This is where you can fill your diesel fuel and your DEF fill. They both, the cap comes off and allows you to fill them. This one here is much like any other Freightliner Cascadia chassis, large tank. That panel will snap back in place, held by magnets. And then just inside the door here, beside the seat, is the chassis battery disconnect. So right now it's on, and that will allow the coach to start, supply power up to the ignition and all the gauges and infotainment center and stuff. Once you turn this off, disconnects the power up there, saves power in the chassis batteries, and will not allow the engine to be started. Okay, we mentioned before a little bit about slide out operation. Once again, we recommend you pull up to your campsite while you're on air ride suspension. We recommend that you operate your slide out, but we recommend that you come out and look at this gap along this side here. Just make sure that nothing's shifted and nothing's touching, nothing's went out of place. And as long as this gap is fairly even, front and back, you're good to go. Go ahead, while you're on air ride, run your slide out room out. And once it's extended, then go ahead and do your hydraulic leveling system. When you get ready to retract it, make sure there's nothing that's got underneath the slide out cover or been leaned up against your coach or anything like that that would interfere with this coming back in, getting pinched in the slide out. And you would go ahead and retract your HWH jacks. You would start your engine up, air the system up. Once the system is aired up and pops off, then your travel ride height would be the time to run your slide out in at that time. Hopefully you enjoyed this walkthrough today, and we'll see you on the next one.